Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zen is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zen.
Yes, hello, welcome. Here I am, holding space. As you can see right here in front of you, the space that I'm holding. We're all in it. We're all in the space I'm holding. I'm so excited. I actually started a little bit late because I was backstage talking to tonight's guest, who I'm just meeting for the first time, and we were just like carried away in conversation. So it's going to be a good one. I'm really excited. This is Holding Space. My name is Michael Zinn. My sage bell is ringing to my voice right now. When I put it next to me, I could hear it. I'm going to ring that in just a second. I see Jennifer Rose out there. Hello, hello. I see Terry out there. Jennifer, thank you for reminding me. If you are watching this, it is Tuesday, May 27th. That means you are live. So do me a favor and just type in hashtag live in the comments. What that does is it tickles the algorithm and lets the algorithm know that something's happening, that people are enjoying. Some people enjoy getting tickled. Maybe some people don't. But I, just to let them know that there's something that people should see, and it throws it out there into other people's algorithms and their feeds. And what's up, CJ? Good to see you. And we're just growing the community, and that's something that I was talking about with my guest. How when you start to align with certain vibrations and intentions, the world around you comes into that alignment, and that includes the people that you start to meet, the opportunities that you start to have, everything that happens. It's all connected, and it all starts to go into a flow. So what I'm talking about, I don't know if you guys hear me well or not. I'm trying to adjust the audio settings these days, because what I like to do is I like to start my show Holding Space with this amazing sound bowl, who I have affectionately named Sage, and I just bring the sound bowl. I take a deep breath in through my nose, which I would love if you guys would do with me, just to kind of get into a nice, calm, centered space, and let's do it together. So the audio, I have to change the audio. So anyway, here we go. I don't know if you guys could still hear that. It's so amazing to me. I love it so much. It rings. If I keep it here next to me, it actually starts to ring as I speak. I hear it ringing because somehow I'm connected to this bowl. So let me just put it down here on the side. And let me just go into my audio settings. Now, again, this is where you guys tell me if it makes a difference to what you guys are hearing. I just got to my echo cancellation, reduce the background noise, and then now my guest will hear everything good. Although I think my guest has headphones on, which they wouldn't have heard an echo anyway. But I think we're good. So thank you for being here and allowing me to open up the space and clear it. And my guest tonight has been introduced to me and recommended to me by Jennifer Rose, one of the amazing psychic mediums on the Sacred Spiral Network, who I also want to shout out to, Kelly Brickle and the Sacred Spiral Network, and Niko, the medium, Niko Medium, who is my guest tonight, got in touch with me and sent me his manuscript for his book, which we're going to talk about. And I started to read it, and immediately I started to feel it. I started to feel like these words were my own thoughts, my own beliefs. A lot of the things that I talk about on this show, a lot of the things I talk about on the live stream of consciousness, about energy being everything, energy being kind of the force that runs through everything. Yes, like Star Wars, and just how it's all connected to that. And I see Brian Lahr out there. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. So anyway, before I start babbling about energy and all those great things that I love talking about, let me get somebody here who I can talk about with it and who has another amazing perspective to share and amazing gifts to share. And that is Niko Medium. Welcome to Holding Space, my friend.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor. Hello, everybody.
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited to have this conversation. Like we were already engaged the minute we met, because I think you sent me this amazing manuscript, which we're going to talk about, and you've got a few of them. And I just love the idea. The manuscript is actually a testament to almost what it says. Because you have to channel it, you have to just put your energy focus into getting those words onto the paper to basically create this conscious entity now that people can interact with and, kind of get in tune with that vibration. I love it.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And Jennifer says, hello, Niko.
Hey, Jennifer. Hey, good to see you.
So I want to get this party started, but I also want to find out more about you because as we were talking before the show, you started saying that you kind of went through this evolution of mediumship, where first you kind of were playing with evidential mediumship, and then you went into trance mediumship, which are two different things. So why don't we start by, everybody kind of probably knows in this audience what the differences are, but in your words, the experience of trying one and then how that evolved into going into the
Absolutely. Actually, I started even before that with I became a Reiki master and oracle cards and past life regressions. So these are like my first introductions to the spirit world. I had a previous spiritual awakening in my 20s. I had an experience when I was a child, and I had a visitation from some three celestial beings. So all of this was like random, and being from New York in a very loud city and the conditioning of the mind and just the beliefs of Greek Orthodox religion that this is all taboo. It was like I had an interest in everything, but it just took me a while to just cross that threshold and delve into it. And even evidential mediumship, it's still a wonderful, beautiful modality if you do it right. Because a lot of these modalities you learn is about using your mind. It's about you approaching it and trying to connect to the spirit world as a physical being. And that's basically impossible. Because what we all forget is that we are a spirit essence in our body. And that's energy. It's a frequency, a vibration, a resonance. And you could only contact and communicate to the spirit world in frequency. So even evidential mediumship and then trance mediumship as well, they're connecting to your essence, not to you. They're not Niko, the physical being, my essence within my being. And around my being, my auric field, my breath, all of that is connected. Mm-hmm. And it's a matter of just slowing down the brain, the body, relaxing, and just feeling the frequency, feeling the vibration. And what they do is, in trance especially, they connect energetically, your imprint and theirs, and they kind of scan your vocabulary for your words, your language, your thinking, all that speech, and they transfer their energy through your thoughts into words. And the breath
in the level that you could understand. Basically what you're saying is they first kind of figure out, they figure out how to talk to you, how you specifically are going to receive it, because you're going to receive it differently than somebody else might.
Yeah, now light trance state that I like to refer to it is like we receive it like words, like a script, and then a lot of people just say that. To get to the moderate or the deep trance state is to understand what's happening. They're kind of scanning the vocabulary, your thought, your subconscious, and then a thought appears in your mind. Now, the intelligence of spirit is they understand how we as humans conduct ourselves. We have a thought and then we speak it. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to bypass what we know and what we've lived. So they kind of do all their research, get the words, get everything right, and then throw that thought in our head. This is where a lot of mediums take the thought and they latch onto it, and then they're saying it. So it's really them leading spirit. The proper way to do it is just receive the thought, acknowledge it, and then stay focused on the frequency. And then what happens is, as it's coming through into speech, it's their cadence, it's their rhythm, it's their pitch and tone, where voices change, or It might be a lot more intelligent than a normal person speaking everyday life. It might be a different language. It's just phenomenal. It's unlimited and it's beautiful.
I love that.
And then what we experience as a medium is all this love, this
Yeah.
truly unconditional love from the spirit realm. Just you're enveloped in it, and it's just in your heart, around you. It's just, oh God, you just feel
Amazing.
loved and protected, and it's addictive.
Yeah. I think what's so great is, I mean, I've been a fan of Bashar, Daryl Anka for many years now, and to see him finally kind of reaching the mainstream, on some level, although even though in some rooms I'll mention the name and nobody will know who I'm talking about. But most of the rooms I do, because of the community that I hang out with, most people know who that is. But again, my thing with Daryl Anka is trying to imagine him 30 years ago, right? Because he's been doing it for that long, and the response that he must have gotten, and just how much persistence and how much certainty he had in what he was doing, that there was no question in his mind that he wasn't going to go back on it. You know what I mean? He was there. He was here to convey this message. You know what I mean? And until the right people heard it, which is great. And so to see it kind of happening, and to see more people, coming into it, channeling different entities, different collectives. People are channeling, past energies, like John Lennon, let's say, or other thing like that. Like, I've been encountering this for the over the last 10 years, just because of my own specific journey. And the thing for me that brought me to this seat right here holding space is the fact that I was never able to deny someone else their experience, right? I wasn't able to look at someone and go, you channel John Lennon, you know what I mean? It was like, who am I to say that? Especially when I'm seeing it present itself in, oh, I've never picked up an instrument before, and here, listen to this song that I composed with the help of musicians when I told them what was coming through. It's phenomenal. And so I guess as like an empath, it's so loving to experience it after the fact, right? Like what they went through and what they left, the vibration that they left through that experience, and what you're doing, it's amazing.
I don't think that energy ever stops, and I don't, even though I love past life regression. I just adored it, and I used to really believe in that a lot. But the more I'm in these deep trance states, the more it's like you're kind of like getting through portals, your awareness. And my human mind thinks that I'm traveling, but what's happening is that I'm just connecting to my own essence, and all that knowledge, all that wisdom comes back. That it's not necessarily a past life; it's more parallel lives. So even though John Lennon may have passed in this particular life, who's to say he's not in another lifetime right now in the parallel life that also we may be experiencing the connection with them? That's why it just kind of the frequency just goes over different dividers, and you're connecting to everybody, interdimensional beings. We might think the 15th century is gone, but it might be existing right now, and we may be living.
I'm a big fan of what you're saying, and I subscribe to that too. It's hard. It's cool because I know a couple of years ago, right? I heard the idea. Somebody presented to me the idea that time, is a concept that we made up, and that everything that ever happened, that ever will happen, it's all one moment, it's all one now. And I was like, okay, something inside of me felt that and said, okay, I know that, but my brain couldn't wrap itself around it in a physical sense at all, because I'm human, I'm three-dimensional, and I think that's where a lot of the struggle is in some of these concepts, is trying to, like you were saying, actually trying to fit it into a physical form when it's really not a physical thing.
That's exactly right.
Something that you were saying on a show, I was watching one of your interviews, and this was a great metaphor that I think helps people understand, is dreaming, right? Is when we're asleep is actually when we're in reality. And I've told the story recently about a download I had here. Only one time have I ever had an experience that I would say, ooh, that's what everybody else is saying. Ooh, I had a download. Only one time, and that was the information that I received was that reality was in here.
Right.
Reality is not a physical place. And that, again, as a physical entity, it's hard to wrap your head around, but as a spiritual entity, it's easy to feel it if you just kind of let go and you let yourself feel it. And that's what your book is talking about, the book that you sent me.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny, you just said the third dimension, which is true. We are in the third dimensional realm, and this is why we live with a timeline, because it's got to be structured, and that's how you live in this realm, where you're going through experiences and you're learning, your soul's learning for your higher self's growth. That's what this is all about. That's why we're in these physical forms. But we are in a timeline. In the conscious mind, when we're living here, it goes progressively, and that's what we know. But people forget that when you sleep, your conscious mind rests and your subconscious is alert, is awake. That's the same as trance. It's identical. But people fear trance because they were taught to fear trance. Because way back when, centuries ago, religious institutions, governmental control, they needed to fear the people. Because if they all knew that we have the ability to connect the spirit all the time, and we do in our sleep, nobody would be able to be controlled. So they instilled fear, and people still fear it and have no idea what's going on, but nobody fears going to sleep. And it's the same thing. When you're sleeping, the subconscious is alert. That's where you're connected to the spirit realm and multi-dimensional different realities. But we forget about it, and we just brush off dreams as a vivid imagination. When you're flying, or you're in a different time zone. Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. Exactly. But that's what it is. And that's why people, why I write these books. Well, actually, my spirit team is nudging me to write these books. But it's kind of to awaken people that you get caught up in this physical reality, in this third dimension, then you suffer, you struggle, you grieve drastically. You're always trying to seek the best job and for status and ego and what have you. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to enlighten while we're in this physical body, because you know what? There is other dimensional beings tapping on our doors and other realities coming around. And it's going to happen one of these days. And we should be awake and ready for this. Daydreaming, absolutely. Yes, daydreaming. Same thing. Automatic driving. Jennifer said, how many times are you driving home on a familiar road and you get there and you have no idea how you got there?
Very many times.
That's trance. That's trance. Yep. An athlete, a musician, a maestro composing, and he's going so fast that the music's coming before he even has a chance to process it. Yeah. All that is trance. We're all in a trance state throughout the day, and we just brush it off. It's amazing.
I talk about that all the time. It was, later in life when I started to learn about kind of the names of these concepts and everything, I was able to go, holy crap, when I was 20 years old playing music with my friends, I was channeling, and I remembered the feeling, I remember even talking about it right back then, saying, oh my God, I love playing music because it's like a dance. It's like a conversation. It's like you're just in this moment where you've let go and something has just kind of taken over and is controlling you. And that's exactly what trance mediumship is.
That's exactly right.
And I love it because I have a few friends who do it in different ways. And I love that it can present itself in different ways, whether it might be light language, you know what I mean, or somebody channeling a specific being like Metatron. How does trance mediumship present itself through you? For our guests, I hadn't explored. I only explored kind of some of your writing and your regular conversations. I haven't even gotten to experience you as a trance. So I'm excited because you even said we can do some of that tonight.
Absolutely.
How does it present itself through you?
So the way I've understood this throughout my journey is, like, I always say this is my metaphor, and I really love this metaphor. Our connection in this body is our essence, right? And imagine, if you will, a funnel. And the widest part of the funnel is your higher self in the spirit realm. And the narrowest part is you in this physical body. So it's one connection. It's one funnel. It's you in the higher breath, sharing the same breath. This is why people really must understand that if your higher self is this beautiful, massive entity in the spirit realm, that's the widest point, and the narrowest point is you, why would you think that this is the only reality, really life your higher self is going to create, if they could create multiple ones? That's why there's parallel lives, and that's definitely going to come into mainstream before we know it.
Yes.
the acceptance of it.
Sure.
So the portal to the spirit realm is your higher self. So that's why nobody, even evidential mediums and anybody that's trying to connect to spirit, you can't really make the access accurate without passing through your higher self first. It's impossible. That's the guardian, okay? That's who lets in all the spirit team members. You, in this physical body, the same way you're not going to let anybody attack you and jump into your body, you're protecting your body. You're protecting this vessel. So this is the connection. Now, in that funnel is where the higher self requests spirit team members to come in that funnel, their energy, their essence. And what happens is that they're working on your vibration, your frequency. They're raising it so you can get to the next level of guides, next level of spirit team members. And each one is doing something. So I had beautiful spirit team members that first came through our trance, and I loved it. I loved it. Everyone is special. No one's better than the other. It's like, being in a room with all your favorite family members, friends, loved ones, and you're the center of attention. It's just a beautiful absorbing of love that they give you effortlessly and unconditionally. Each one is beautiful, but as you progress, as you align, as you enlighten, it's like you kind of, I don't want to say levels, but other guides start coming in, and then they become your main guides, and they're constantly repeating and moving up the ladder, if you will.
Sure.
The
Hold
guides.
on. I want to interrupt you for a second. I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to interrupt you. But you bring up a good point, right? The point of you don't want to say levels, right?
Never.
Because it in the three-dimensional perspective, it kind of is that.
Yes.
But in the unconditional perspective, it isn't that. Everything in the unconditional perspective is a part of a whole.
Right.
So regardless of if you're at the bottom of the hole or at the top of the hole, you're still a part of the whole. And I think that's the important thing that, as humans, we often forget. And I think that those are the things that, you and I, through our messages, are trying to convey. So I wanted to just make a point of that real quick.
Absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt.
And a lot of these transmissions and demonstrations, my spirit team will mention this, that all spirit, all higher selves are connected in the spirit realm as one. It's one massive energy, one big ball of light, if you will. And it's like, why do we judge here in physical form? We judge race, gender, creed, and yet we've been all of that.
Right.
These parallel. So I'm a man in this life. I could be a female in another life. It could be Jewish or Christian. It doesn't make a difference. We're all even. If we're all equal in the spirit realm, and we're all the spiritual body in this spiritual form in this body, we're equal here too.
Right.
And if we just tweak the perspective a little bit, how much peace will it be on this earth? Right? Just tweak it a little bit. Forget about a whole global awakening. That'd be a great place to live.
I mean, so here's something important that I'm thinking about as well, right? And that is that I absolutely subscribe to, and I don't really want to use the word believe. I want to say the word know everything that you just said as truth, right? However, I do have to spend this moment right here in the three-dimensional aspect, right, of self. And so what I've done is I've taken accountability for my actions, and I've created this moment right here where I can exchange my energy with you and anybody who's listening to hear it and to kind of receive these new ideas, or even these validating ideas. If they're ideas that they're already exploring and believing, it's like, oh my God, that person knows too. They know the vibration that I'm on. So I just want to say thank you for that moment. And again, the reflections that you allow me to experience in my head as I'm listening to you talk, and celebrate the words, you know what I mean, and really, really let them flow. So I think that's what this moment is about.
Yeah, I also think that these aren't new words. We think they are as humans, but if we go back centuries ago, this is probably what they were speaking about. You know what I mean? Even the Great Pyramids, how did they build that? People say, the aliens built it. But you know what? It's not necessarily the aliens. It's a higher awareness. They were in tune to the spirit realm, and that's what happened. So a lot of this has been spoken about centuries before, that it's just been silenced for so long that we forgot it as a human race. And I just think it's coming back. It's just coming back. It's the spirit realm tapping in, and awarenesses, and there's going to be a lot of changes in the next decade.
Absolutely.
And that's when people are going to start saying, I should have listened back then, and what's going on? They're going to be fearing. But those who are really enlightened are just kind of paving the way and speaking the truth, so it won't be as frightening to everybody.
Right. Totally.
Which is really great.
That's so that's an interesting tangent. And that is the idea that, and I've been saying this for the last couple of years, because and not even really being able to convey the depth of the words, right? That this existence right now is going to look very, very different than our existence in a very short time.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I can't even fathom it, but I'm excited, because I just think it's all right, let me back up. So one of the things that I've been thinking that is just coming through me is the idea that humanity, right, with all of the stuff that's going on that everybody's focused on, like it's so freaking important, like it matters so much, is humanity kind of taking a step back and saying, oh, wait a second, this is a galactic existence. There are galactic presences around. There are other energetic presences around. There are other realms that we don't even understand, that all of a sudden we now have to participate in. We've been kind of lucky that we've been exempt from having to participate and know, but I think it's now time to know. I think a lot of people are waking up, and that's the 3D explanation, right? The way we can understand, oh, that's what's happening. I'm waking up, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
In the first book that I wrote, hey Dana, in the first book that I wrote, it was a lot of this what we're talking about right now, and one of it was about multidimensional beings and connection. If we're all frequency, if we're all energy, and we're all an essence in the body, so too are they. Mm-hmm. They're an essence in the body. And who's to say again that we're not living in a different planet, a different reality, whatever it is, that first one, the Threads of Infinity one. That's the one that I speak about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Telepathic communication is what I spoke about earlier, when their frequency is connected to yours and they're tapping into your knowledge and your memory and forming that thought. So if the same thing happens with trance, with a spirit team member guided by your higher self to speak through you, so too will the multidimensional beings connect in the same frequency. Mm-hmm. It's a higher vibrational frequency that when you surrender to it and let go and not fear it, everything is possible. So even when I'm in a deep trance state, and I'll have the spirit guide speaking through me, with me, my energy to the recipients, my awareness is elsewhere. So, I could be tapping into another reality, another planet. I could be conversing with a multidimensional being. And it's not freaky. It's not scaring me, because I see it as glimpses of what's to come. Yeah. And that's amazing. Yeah. But then when you sit and talk to your family and friends, they think you're a whack job.
Totally.
So totally. It's refreshing to have people that listen in the same language. We could talk about it. It's a lot of fun. But
well, it is very difficult to, again, as a 3-dimensional, those are a lot of limitations, 3 dimensions, right? It's and as a 3-dimensional being who's had to learn how to survive in 3 dimensions, you're kind of stuck in that. And thank God, I say God, and that was a word I always struggled with until I started replacing that with universe. But thank source, whatever you call it, source. that people are starting to feel their own connection, right? It's not about you or me telling somebody else anything.
Right.
It's about them feeling their own connection and saying, oh my God, I know what you're talking about. I feel it. I feel a thing. To me, energy, like I said, is kind of the base of everything, but the language of energy is emotion, is feeling.
Right.
So that's like, your books about remembering higher self and the way you've experienced it. I'm actually putting together a book right now. I've spoken about it, called You Are the Answer. And it's a it's a humorous approach, like Douglas Adams style, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know if you've ever read that.
Yeah, nice,
But
nice.
it's just the idea of, like, the signs, like thinking of somebody and then they call you, like
That's exactly right.
how that synchronicity, how that
Synchronicities.
works, and how to listen to it, and how to, like you've been saying, let go and just
Yeah,
believe it and trust it and feel it and know it, and Christine saying be a part of it, not resisting it.
right.
That's really how it comes through. And I gotta admit, Niko, I'm guilty of this. I'm, as you can see, I'm so excited. This stuff gets me excited. I'm there. I don't believe it. I know it. But me personally, I do. I'm trying to say the right word, right? Because our words are spells, and I'm navigating the idea of letting go. I feel like I'm not completely letting go, because I feel like there's so much more for me to see and experience, that I've just been experiencing, vicariously through people like yourself, some of my best friends, all the different modalities. I love it all because I feel it. It flows through me energetically. My partner is a Reiki master, a teacher, and part of the experience of even becoming romantically connected with her was just this energetic exchange. When she placed her hands around my head, my eyes were closed. It felt like I had two giant conch shells next to me, because I was
Yes.
just hearing frequency. I was hearing the ocean. I was hearing space, the source, whatever it was, and it is amazing to let go. So I can let go to a certain point, right? Obviously. But whatever,
I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
no,
I cut you
where
off.
I'm at, and I believe that's why I'm sitting in this chair, Niko, so that I can bring people like you into my life and witness and experience and absorb the energy, exchange the energy, and raise my vibration. I mean, it's definitely always the intention in the back, right, of why I'm even sitting here, why
Yeah.
I put the keys in and start up the engine, on this show, is to take this ride, and to be here right now with you, wherever we're driving right now on some
Yeah.
interplanetary coastline, driving along, just having this conversation. It's all intentional.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
This is why these books all have the underlining theme of the higher self, and this is the part that I believe, and I've come to understand. If we really accept this, that we are our higher self, a form of it in this body, this is what makes it easier to let go. Like the beginning of the third book, I've just started writing that. Imagine this visual, okay? The body comes out of the womb, but the body has no breath. The body has liquid in the lungs, but no breath. It comes out, and then the breath appears. Where does the breath come from? So the way I'm understanding it too, and this is all through trance and this knowledge you receive when you're in that deep state.
yeah.
When that body is formed, it comes out. Your higher self claims it. This is the vessel. Okay, the breath enters it, but outside your auric field, your energy is attached around this. So your presence, your essence, wraps around this body and protects it this whole entire journey. That's the higher self.
That's
So if
beautiful.
we understand that, and we live in a life where there's a time frame, a timeline, but the spirit realm doesn't have any. So the higher self, the power, the intellect, has the ability to already foresee this entire journey. It's already mapped it out, it carved it out, it brought every experience. All we have to do is trust in our higher self and arrive to the destination.
Yeah.
But the conditioning of this world and our minds and our ego and our pride and comparisons and acceptance, we're the ones that make it difficult.
Yeah.
It's like we have to just stumble every single way instead of just walking straight and trusting we're led to go there. And when we have that in our conscious mind, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to let go of. It's just don't own it. It's not your body.
Right.
You're just part of this whole formula.
It's difficult, like what you're saying. Yeah, what you're saying is difficult because of what we're taught. But I want to go back to what you're saying, because I saw you say this on another interview about the breath, and it made so much sense to me. And I don't know if anybody else is seeing it this way, but I almost see it's like a scene in a movie almost, where I feel like the soul, that's how the soul is entering the body. That's what you're saying. It's like the soul kind of arrives through the breath, and then once it's connected to the vessel, it becomes this holy union of the soul in the vessel, in the journey that it's meant for. And the thing that I like also about it, that I connect to, is, for me, my meditation guides that I worked with, this guy Stephen Durante, who's amazing, made it very clear about how the breath is that key, right? So when you start to focus on your breath, and you start to concentrate, and you say, wait a second, I'm not doing that. That's just happening. My body is automatically breathing, but I can, with my mind, I can focus on it, and I can say, ooh, I can feel it. I can experience it. I can kind of get in sync with the rhythm of it. And then once I'm focused on the breath, I think that's the highway to the soul. Now you're communicating with your soul, because you're focusing on the breath, which you're saying is really essentially kind of like the physical, maybe that's the physical aspect of the soul. That's a good way to put it, right? It's like a physical manifestation of the soul is the breath, the happening of the breath, right? I love that.
That's exactly what it is. And also, when we're very stressed out, instinctively we take a deep breath. Yeah. If you're scared, if you're stressed out, people take a deep breath. You don't think about it, you just do it. It's like you're kind of returning home. You're like, I need some help. And your higher self connects with you in a more profound way. Also, the breath is what enables you, without going to sleep, to lower the brain hertz from the beta state that we're speaking now, drop it to the alpha, where a lot of evidential mediums reside in meditation, hypnosis, and then theta, even deeper. It's all about breath control. And then delta is when you go to sleep. So even when you're going to sleep at night, you take a deep breath to calm down and you fall asleep. It's all about the breath. And the breath is the key. It's the key to this existence, because that's who you are. That's your core. That's your essence. That's your lifeline to your higher self. And the body is just the vessel. But we have learned the opposite. We believe in separation. I am this body. I am in this life. When I die, I'll go to heaven. And that's a separation. That's a belief taught to us in order to instill fear to control us. So they can have control, the religious doctrine, the religious institutions, or what have you. It's not real.
And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Perception changes everything.
Yeah, no, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I agree with you. I talk about it often. I try not to go into like conspiracy theories and that kind of stuff, and not that because it's not. I don't believe it's a conspiracy. I believe that there's some sort of method behind it to teach us certain things that do separate us from our natural abilities. You were talking about that earlier. You know what I mean? And I like to talk about it in, it's a part of the system, right? Whatever is supposed to, they're doing it because that's what they know, whoever they are. And we got to do what we know, which is to love and to be unconditional and to take care of ourselves and to be accountable for our own actions and what we put out into the energetic field, what we think, what our thoughts are. As you see, sometimes I'm about to say something and I know just from my experience, like energetically in the past now, it's like I can say, oh, when I said that, I saw it. I saw the words come out of my mouth and the vision that it created, right? And it's almost like focus goes where energy goes, where focus goes, or whatever that saying is. The universe, it doesn't know that I'm saying I don't like this. Right, the universe knows that I'm just saying it, and is gonna give it energy. So I think it's so.
Everything is energy.
Everything is energy. So we've got a couple of questions here, and I think this is kind of leading towards a moment of trance. Naomi is asking, when you sleep, where do you go? Do you go somewhere? And that's an interesting question. I guess it's a matter of perception, but what's your response to that?
when you go to sleep, I highly recommend people start looking into lucid dreaming, where you just kind of become aware in the dream. It takes a little bit of practice and patience and no expectations. This is where you're really communicating with your higher self. This is when you're receiving direct messages, like a conversation almost, because you can't dissect your own breath, so you really can't hear guidance from the higher self. That's what the spirit guides are helping you. They're the assistants. But in lucid dreaming, you can really communicate. You could go to those parallel lives. You could understand. You could be guided. It's amazing. Especially in dreams, if you just sit back and listen, there's a lot of clarity coming through, a lot of knowledge but you all have it. We all have that knowledge within. We just really haven't tapped into it because we're so busy, and our mind is running at 1,000
I
minutes.
think it exists in it exists in the universal field, which is that's kind of where we're going, right? When we go to sleep, we're going to the universal field. So maybe that's kind of
exactly,
when you sleep, where do you go? You're accessing the non-physical aspects of existence.
Yeah, of course.
When you go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking about
Absolutely.
it, and I've mentioned this recently. I definitely remember when I was younger, very, very, very vivid dreams and repeating dreams about standing at the top of a stairway and just kind of letting myself fall forward and just floating, being able to levitate. The idea of levitating in different capacities, actually, I can remember dreams where it was very, very, very vivid, and now as an older person and with some of the beliefs I have, I'm like, okay, so awesome now. And it's like, I would love to be able to do that physically. So one of the things, now that I'm saying this out loud, one of the conversations I heard recently is about the idea of the collective, right? So we're existing in this 3D world with this kind of collective agreement of what makes it real, what makes it 3D. We have to agree on those things. I have to agree that this mouse is here, that this screen is here. We have to agree that these things are here for them all to be. And so the idea of me leaning forward and levitating and flying, we don't all agree on that. So that's one of the reasons I can't. This was the conversation that I was hearing, that if we would all agree on that, we would all be able to do it, because that would be the collective agreement about what 3D reality is. Does that make sense to you? Do you subscribe to that?
Yeah, but I also believe that because we are in this third dimensional reality, we all perceive it differently. So if we're going to look at a cloud together, I might see a shape you don't see. So I don't think that we all perceive the same reality, because I believe this is also an illusion we live in. So you perceive it how you need to perceive it for your own individual journey. Absolutely. I believe that as time progresses and more people awaken and this global awakening occurs, we'll all start seeing the same reality the same way. It won't be an illusion anymore. The illusion becomes a reality, and we'll all have a very similar vision. And that's when we can tap into the energetic power we all possess within us and levitate or fly or whatever the case is way down the road. I might even not be alive for that time, but I believe it's going to definitely happen at one point.
You know what? The timeline is collapsing in on itself, so that the time might not even be
you never know.
It could happen tomorrow, Niko. We don't know.
Exactly. I like that idea. I like that idea.
So I like that the chat room is getting a little interested and more responding to some questions. Are you still resting your body when you're lucid dreaming? That's a good question.
You're still asleep. You're just kind of like
physically
switch an on button on, and you know what's going on. You just kind of know you're in the dream state, and it takes a lot. Like, you have to like notice things in your everyday life, notice the birds, notice the trees, notice the stop signs, and really focus on it, because everything has energy. So when you're in this dream state and a similar vision that you just walked yesterday appears, you'll start seeing like it's changing. The energy changes. That's the dream part. And then you can notice it, and something like that would trigger you to understand I'm in a dream, and that's when you become lucid. It's really cool.
Right.
But you're definitely
resting. I think
you actually sleep better.
I think the question's interesting because physiologically, right, your body is resting because you're sleeping, right? But in your mind, you might be fighting a dragon or whatever you might be doing, right? But but physiologically now, I think Christina is right that your heart's going to be beating a little bit faster, right? There is a physiological reaction to what's happening in your mind. I think and I could be wrong. I'm just speaking, I'm just responding to this, right? I'm not a doctor. I haven't studied this, but physiologically, I think for the most part, yes, your body's resting because you're laying down, you're at rest, your breathing has slowed, the cells are doing their thing, like what that they do to repair themselves. But in your mind, I think the things that you're experiencing are going to affect you, in certain ways, with your breath, with your heartbeat. Something that Christine said earlier about Steve, the meditation guide, that she's local to me, so she knows Steve. She said that Steve specifically says when you're feeling your breath to also take notice of your heartbeat, and that your heartbeat and your breath are both of those are things that happen automatically. You're not doing them. They're just happening, as physiologically as part of your body. So they're kind of your soul's physical manifestation is your heart and your breath. I think that's also what she's saying there too.
When you lower your brain hertz from the beta to the alpha to the theta to the delta sleep, when you're lowering your brain hertz, you also your heart rate slows and your breath is very, very shallow. So even in the trance state, in the theta, you don't even know you're breathing. You're so shallow you miss it. So in the dream state, our heart rates are very, very shallow, very, very slow. Our heart rate, our breathing is you're in the delta. In other words, they have to come down and be like non-existent to sleep. That's how you get into the conscious, the subconscious.
So you're saying physiologically,
if something happens in the dream.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Because you're in a very relaxed. It's okay. You're in a very, very relaxed state. So your heart rate is very slow and your breathing is very, very shallow. That's the delta, because your brain hertz are below 3. So, but in the dream state, when you're dreaming and something happens and you just wake up, now your heart rate is pumping really fast, and you're like, anxious, and you're shaking because you just instantaneously went from delta, the brain hertz under 3 and below, all the way up to beta 13.5. It's a shot, like an injection, and you wake up in a sweat. So unless something happens, like those nightmares, you come out of those nightmares with these tremors. Unless something happens to shock you, you're gonna still remain very, very peaceful. Your breath is very shallow. Your mind is shallow, and that's why you could switch it and make it a reality within the dream, because you're not really changing, and you have that calmness that you can consciously pay attention. But you're not paying attention like a conversation right now. You're not going to be in the beta. You're just observing. Just on a very subtle basis, you observe it, and you're still in a very restful state. Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of the cool thing. That's kind of the whole simulation theory, right? Because you are experiencing these things in your dream. In your dream, you are physically interacting, right, with things, but in reality, your body is just laying there at rest. So that's a great argument for simulation theory right there. You know what I mean? Because a dream is way much realer than a video game. I mean, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Good to see. No, that's interesting. I think all of that is really interesting. I want to make sure we have some time to allow you to do some trance mediumship for us. How are you feeling about that? You feel like you're ready to get into that mind?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They've been here the whole time. They're just waiting to jump on the ship.
Nice. Awesome. So is there anything that we should do to prepare? Do you want us to take a deep breath and just be with you, or?
So I'm going to just take a couple of minutes. This is where I just lower from the beta to the alpha to the theta. I just lower my hertz. I get down breathing. You see my breathing's going to change. They're going to connect. I connect with them. They're going to start speaking, whatever they're going to say. If you have a question, you could ask them, or it's between you and spirit now. This is where I kind of zone out of it. So I don't really know what happens. And when I come back, when it's over, whatever, if you ask me what happened, I'm clueless. So I'm glad you're recording it.
Awesome.
Okay. And these are, you asked me this before, I never finished the answer. When I was a young boy, these three celestial beings came through my window, and I was startled. They left, but their presence remained with me. Their energetic field was like my protector. And this is where all the other guys that came through me were effective. And I got to that level now that this is my main team. And they go by a collective name of Noah. Because they I know who they are. They're three archangels, but their emphasis was it should not be on the messenger. It should be on the message. So they wanted to stay, incognito and just by one name.
I love that.
Thank you,
That's
Ish.
great. Yeah.
Greetings to you, my dear one.
Hello there.
Much gratitude to you, my dear, for allowing us this opportunity to be heard through your platform.
Well, I'm
It's
excited.
quite an honor indeed, my dear. Yes, my dear one. The honor is ours. As your essence is quite powerful, my dear. You are serving your purpose. You are speaking your truth. You are sharing both your vulnerability and your heart with your words, your guidance. You are offering those of your realm a springboard, if you will. One who they are able to resonate with. One who has walked alongside of them. Experienced pain as they, confusion, even struggles with self-doubt, questioning your purpose. And yet through your eyes, they are able to glimpse into another realm. A reminder that they too are of our realm. And yet, my dear one, even though you are aligned, even though you are navigating, if you will, your realm, finding your purpose, you still at times question your self-worth. Understand, my dear one, these imperfections, you shine a light on so powerfully at times. Are imperfections that are required in order to live in physical form. Remember, my dear, your essence is perfect. In order for an essence to enter physical form, it must accept imperfection. For that is where there is growth along the physical journey. So one in physical form must also experience that journey with imperfection, remembering it does not identify who they are. It is merely another avenue to learn. Do not consume your thoughts with those imperfections you wish to change. Accept them. For as it builds character in your realm, it also enables you to be human. And by being human, that too offers lessons to your essence. Is that clear, my dear one?
Very much so. Very much so. I feel it in my skin right now.
You are feeling those sensations. You are feeling our essence near. For it is not you within your physical form that we are communicating with. It is your essence in our realm. Therefore, what you experience, what you feel, is a direct line, if you will, to your own essence. So imagine how miraculous this is. Through the mouth of human form to the ears of human form. One aspect of this conversation. And yet the true depth, the true feeling, the true resonance is essence to essence, my dear. Energy is emotion. Why you experience the feeling within your heart. As if you are embraced with love. A reminder that you too are in essence, loved and offering love. Continue to portray your true identity by projecting love through your words, through your actions, through your intentions, as you continue to journey within your physical realm, my dear one. Now, I am aware time is limited, but perhaps, my dear one, there is a question by the one who is listening or you wish to offer.
I certainly believe there is a question. I just need to collect myself here. You've got me emotional. I think that your words are resonating with a few people in the audience. I think I see some people crying as well. It's very, very, very powerful, Noah. I can't tell you really how powerful it is. I see a
I'm
question
just,
from.
if I may, my dear one, understand why people weep. People feel the emotion when they are mm, connecting to our vibrational frequency as powerfully as they are.
Mhm,
It is
mhm.
because the essence, each of your essences remembers this love, this unconditional love, which is near impossible to obtain within your realm. It is a longing deep within, a remembrance of who you are, and therefore you in the physical form become emotional. These are happy tears, my dear one,
Indeed.
as they are offering each of you a remembrance. And that is where the journey truly begins. You may commence with that question now, my dear.
Indeed. Thank you. So I felt like, or I feel like, or even I'm gonna be as bold as to say I know that your words are, even though I felt like at first they were directed to me specifically, I feel like they are a message for humanity, for whoever is actually listening here at the moment. And one of the listeners, Annalie McGowan, says, I still question my purpose, which I think you're kind of addressing here.
Mm. My dear one, when one is questioning their purpose, then they are attempting to understand what their purpose is through the lens of their physical form, my dear. Your reality is quite confusing, if you will. You are conditioned to seek acceptance, validation, status. You are seeking your individual purpose by comparing it to others. The purpose of the essence, my dear, was never meant to be in physical form to acquire the riches and the fame that people seek. The purpose, my dear, is what is in your heart. When you speak with love, when you show compassion, when you receive a hug, my dear, this is where it is natural. The purpose of each essence within physical form is, yes, to undergo experiences, lessons throughout the developmental years of that form. But it is also to understand that you are much more than what you see within your reflection. Listen to your intuition, my dear. Follow your heart. That will lead you to your purpose by first remembering who you are and where you come from. Do not place expectations. Allow it to arrive naturally, my dear, and you will be surprised to learn that you already knew your purpose. Perhaps, my dear, it wasn't as elaborate as this dream of a physical life you manifested. Perhaps it's simpler and more profound. Trust in yourself, my dear one. Do not fear. For fear only exists in your realm and the illusion of it, my dear. I thank you, my dear one.
No, I have a question from the audience. I'm not even sure if it's relevant or what the answer might be. And the question is from Angelo. It says, "Who created Noah?" I know you explained to me a little bit about Noah's origins of three separate entities, but maybe you can elaborate.
Indeed, my dear. Understand that each one of you are accompanied by wonderful essences, all powerful, all wise, all instrumental toward each of your transformations, enlightenment, and guidance along your physical journeys. The one we are communicating with, its highest essence, has asked us prior to this incarnation to assist, to be guardians, if you will. We are of the celestial realm, where you recognize as archangels, my dear. There are three of us. And yet we have accompanied this one as a collective. Therefore, we speak through one voice, prefer to be recognized as one name, Noah. He is aware of the change within the energetic field. And therefore, at times, even as we are conversing, our voice may shift, change. This is all due to the flow of the energy. But who we are, my dear, is just as important as who you perceive you are. Names, identities, roles you play within your physical form, these are all valid in your realm. And yet you are none of it. You are the essence, you are the energy. And each one possesses their own unique energetic imprint, my dear. This is how we are able to differentiate amongst all in our realm. So you too possess a beautiful and unique imprint. This translates into your physical form on how you love, how you receive, how you offer love. Remember that, my dear, and you are cautious of offering your love for fear of receiving pain. For by doing so, you are not truly honoring yourself. You are not allowing your true energetic imprint to thrive in your realm. I thank you, my dear one.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you. I feel, again, I don't feel like I'm having a conversation. I feel like I'm exchanging energy, and I know that's your purpose and your intention, and I just want to let you know that it's being received. And I thank you.
My dear, allow me to correct you if I may, my dear. It is
Please.
not our intent. This is how we communicate, if you will. You are receiving our essence, our energy, our vibration, as we are receiving yours. Our essence is connected to your essence, and energy is transferable. So as you feel the love, we are receiving love from you. And yet in your physical realm, you're perceiving it differently. But once more, it is not you in your physical realm that this transfer of energy is taking place. It is your essence, my dear. It is in our realm. And as you are an extension of your essence, you are able to feel it. And your mind is perceiving it. As this is our intention for you to feel. But it is love. We offer love unconditionally, expecting nothing in return. And your essence is doing the same, my dear. So gratitude for you for allowing us to feel your love.
Mm.
It has truly been an honor, my dear, and a privilege.
As
And
well
we
for
thank
me.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. No, I don't know if you're still there or waiting. But it's. I feel so good. I feel so nice right now. Thank you.
Hi again.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Niko. That was Jennifer says beautiful trance work. Really, really beautiful.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I feel so grateful that I didn't see that before, and that I was able to experience it like a little bit more organically. It was definitely the unique trance experience for me, and I think for a couple of people in the audience as well. So, again, thank you so much for allowing us to share that. Thank you for an amazing show. We're getting a lot of comments about the energy that we transmitted. This transmission was very successful, Niko. Thank you.
I'm happy. There was a
Thank
lot of
you.
love. I had tears in my eyes too. It was great.
I think you had a couple of us crying, and I've said it before on this show, and you stated it as well, that for me that's like kind of one of the physical manifestations that can kind of indicate a cross realm moment, right? Because you're thinking in your head a thought, right? And whatever that thought is actually creating tears and this choking up right here. You're feeling it physically. It's a physical manifestation of an energetic thought, which is really like, that's a very powerful moment and a validation of connecting with your soul. So I think that we achieved that tonight, which is awesome, to do it live online and to touch people, more than one people in a moment. So thank you again for that.
Yeah. This is I was only the vessel. That's it.
No,
It was
well,
all spirit.
thank
That's
you
the
for
beauty of it.
thanks. There's still things involved in that. Thank you for allowing yourself to be a vessel.
Yeah,
You know what
okay.
I mean?
Thanks.
And thank you, and thanks to Noah and everybody who was here to receive that. I think it was an important moment for me, a brilliant moment for the collective. I think it's important, that these things happened. And Christine says yes, she cried tears of love. And remembrance, and that's kind of what you were talking about, or Noah was talking about, is this remembering that the essence, indeed, if you think about the word, the essence is source. Essence is just this one thing that we're all a part of. We're all kind of our own little fractal essence of essence itself.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Which is
Absolutely right.
awesome. Which
Well,
is awesome.
in that first, really quick, in that first book, I had said, I wrote something about we are the consciousness of our higher self in this body. Our higher selves are the consciousness of the creator. So
Mhm.
if you remove all the higher selves, are we not the consciousness of the creator as well?
Absolutely.
So yes, I understand what you mean about essence. I totally agree 100% with that.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to just hide your banner for a second. I want to add to your banner what we had put up there earlier. I'm just going to pop it back up here. So here, if you was receiving what the energy from tonight, these are the books that Niko has written so far, 2 out of 5 of a trilogy, which I think is awesome because Douglas Adams, who is an inspiration for me, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was originally a trilogy and turned into 4 books, and then he has all these other books and things that go with it.
Yeah, exactly,
I think
exactly.
there's a
So
synergy there.
that if I made that books by the books.by / Niko the Medium. This is my
Yep.
own personal bookstore. It's also on Amazon. On Amazon, we have the paperback edition, the hard copy, and the ebook. But on this one, it's only the paperback. So if those of you want to get the paperback, it's also $5 less on this one. And also on June 12th, my birthday, I'm gonna host a live drawing to select 3 winners to receive a free one-to-one trance session. Sit with Noah, ask all your questions, and have fun.
Awesome. And where is that happening exactly online?
June 12th, I think it was 8 p.m. UK time. It's on my Facebook page. 8 p.m. UK. I think it is 8 p.m. UK time. 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight, and noon Pacific.
And people
On
could
June
find
12th.
a link there. Great. Awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
And why don't you, Michael? Why don't you also select somebody from the listening here, whoever listened, to also receive a free one-to-one trance session? You get to pick.
You want me to pick somebody in my audience to get a free one-to-one session? Well, I'm gonna have to give. I'm gonna give my VIP award. I definitely know who, without even thinking. Christine, who was here, kind of hanging on tight the whole time, and she was right there with us. You brought her to tears as well. I think she definitely deserves that.
Wonderful.
So I'm gonna say, Christine, I'm gonna gift you with what Niko is gifting me with, being able to gift somebody with, which is awesome. It's like ripples upon ripples upon ripples. I love that.
That's right.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You could never create too many
and
ripples.
And of course, Michael, it'd be my honor to give you a free trance session also whenever you want it. It'd be my honor.
I cannot wait.
Thank you very much.
I cannot wait. That's so brilliant, and it's apparently Christine's birthday, so I must have known that intuitively.
Happy birthday, Christine! Whoa, that's amazing! Wow.
There you go. Everything happens the way it's supposed to here on Holding Space. Niko, phenomenal. I would love to have you back again. I'm just going to pop you in the back so anytime I can take a deep breath and release and close out the show, but don't go anywhere because I do want to talk to you. Thank you so much for being with us.
You got it.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Oh, wow. I can feel the energy in my body. I love that. I love that about this show. I love that I've created this intentional moment to have these conversations with people who are so connected with their own energy that it allows me to kind of connect through them to source energy. I think that's what it's all about. I think if we only allowed ourselves to connect to each other, more so than what the world is telling us to do, right? We're being told, watch out for this person, watch out for that person. A conversation I was having with Niko about COVID, COVID, changed everything, and we just need to come back to love. I think feel it in your heart, when you go out there in public, operate from here instead of here. I mean, I'm not saying don't think, don't use your mind, but I'm saying instead of your ego, operate from your heart. Understand that everybody you're interacting with also is experiencing the 3D and trying to navigate it just like you are. I'm really grateful for all of you guys who show up here. Thank you so much for making my Tuesdays feel a little bit more important, and my purpose feel a little bit more enforced, and my conversations a little more fun. I will see you guys next week, and we're gonna just roll the dice, right? I got Kelly is booking up my whole June and July. You know what? I might even have it in front of me. Oh, I do have it in front of me. 6/3 is next week. No, let's take a look at my calendar. What do we got here? Oh, yep, we got 6/3 is next. I have Francis Pollen coming. So I'm going to be meeting a whole bunch of new psychics who may have some presence on the Sacred Spiral Network. Maybe they don't. But I know Suri. I saw Suri in the audience earlier. She's going to be on the show. I'm super excited to meet all of you. Thank you guys for allowing me to hold space. And I will see you guys soon. Peace.